Moving on, with the spread of coronavirus in the northern parts of the country and lockdown in many states, there are fears that this could trigger food scarcity in the country. Experts are now advocating that people practice soilless farming to grow some crops in their homes. Just Nigeria's Sheung Idowu has more.
The coronavirus pandemic has not only been a threat to human health, it is also disrupting food supply and creating food insecurity. Countries across the globe have had to choose either to lock down and contain the virus or allow people to go about their businesses to put food on their tables. A 2020 global report on food crisis shows the number of people unable to meet their daily food needs has been on the rise over the last years. Nigeria was one of the countries that suffered the impact of the world food crisis. Due to restrictions in movement to check the spread of coronavirus, many people who could fend for themselves are now unable to maximize their sources of livelihood. Ngozi is a food vendor with a family of 8 children. She shares her experience.
Things were expensive before the emergence of coronavirus. Now with the pandemic, the situation is worse. I don't eat to satisfaction anymore. Everything is costly. If I try to eat 2 times a day, I thank God.
If there's a restriction of movement completely, and then the food is not coming from where it's supposed to come from the farmer and all of that, it will be disastrous.
World Food Programme says the coronavirus pandemic will make more than 250 million people across the world suffer acute hunger by the end of this year. So at a time like this, what can you do to make food available for you and your family?
Majorly, farmers tend to depend on seasons to produce their food. And that in itself is an issue, because when we have to depend on season, it means there is a time there is rainy season and there is a time there is dry season, meaning our production is invariably divided into production season and non-production season. And this in itself affects food security. In hydroponics, in a layman's definition, means we are growing plants inside water. Now I said the word layman's definition because it's important that we understand that it's not always inside water. Now, somebody would probably want to know, how can we grow plants without soil? Do plants not need soil to grow? The answer to that is simply no. Because if we understand the function of soil, it makes it easier to understand how we are able to replace soil. So here, the kind of yam I am going to produce in this small space is called the seed yam, what farmers collect to plant. So all I need to do is, I cut this. So you notice I'm holding the leaf. I cut this. This is called a node. I will take my node, put it down, plant. I am done with planting. So in 21 days, it would have brought out roots. So if this were my small nursery, I can now take this and take it outside. If I decide to grow vegetable in my compound, in a small space like this, if I can make it up to 10, I can get well over 1,000 vegetables. And with that, I mean, you're already a commercial farmer in your small space.
The Food and Agriculture Organization says about 7 million Nigerians will experience food shortage by the middle of this year. But is there a way to avoid this food crisis?
If every household in Lagos grew just one vegetable, I'm not saying 20 different types of vegetable, just a single type of vegetable. Maybe you grow lettuce, the other person grows ugu, pumpkin, the other person grows jute, that's efotete. Now you realize that because of trade by barter, vegetable production becomes is not a big deal anymore in Lagos, because anybody can produce, anybody can grow, and that reduces the burden on the farmers in the village. Because if we can grow perishable crops around our urban environment, it reduces the stress on the rural farmer.
To combat the looming food scarcity, the World Bank has advised countries across the globe to keep food trade channels open. In the midst of the pandemic, emerging economies such as Nigeria can still leverage on the opportunities hydroponics provides to feed their citizens and generate revenue from foreign trade. Sheung Idowu, Gist Nigeria.
Might try my hands on that. There's more to come here on Gist Nigeria, brought to you by the BBC and Channels TV. Ghana adopts pool testing of samples to increase coronavirus detection. We'll have that story in a moment. Stay with us.